We'll see if maybe on red side, ROX Tigers can get something going a little bit more. Maybe they can grab one of those higher priority picks. Twisted Fate banned out by KT to start things off.
ROX Tigers have that solitary red side loss. Only a single loss on red side to Samsung as a blight to what would have otherwise been an undefeated season on the red side. So stats certainly in ROX Tigers' favor.
Yep, definitely. Corcuban, then Lissandra. Okay. Italy taken away again, and this time by the ROX Tigers, but not allowing that to be first picked by score.
I feel like KT might just first pick Maokai again if it's available on blue. Poppy, though, I believe, might be the only higher priority champion than that Maokai.
Yeah, could be. Could be. So do you purposely leave both of them open if you're ROX Tigers, so that you could be guaranteed to at least get Poppy or Maokai?
Gangplank also is an interesting factor. There's another champion that's almost been permabanned. So I don't have a good answer to that, though. It's 3 mid lane bans from KT.
Wow.
It's been very much Kuro piloting the Lissandra from a ROX Tigers perspective.
Isn't the LeBlanc ban kind of interesting given last game?
I mean, it's a result of being on blue side. You're more flexible, so no top lane bans at all. Wow. Sunday's best champion, Poppy, is available, but there's actually a lot of power picks available for KT.
I mean, Smeb's had some great Poppy games too, but definitely the highest priority pick out there right now at this draft. So someday we'll grab it. And was it going to be Alistar Kindred right away? So are they going to lock in Kindred?
You'd expect so. Still the strongest skirmishing jungler, although Peanut didn't seem to know as he decided not to skirmish at all in game 1.
Yeah, that was odd. I don't like passive Peanut.
Passive Peanut.
I want aggressive Peanut.
I like wasabi Peanut. Bit of spice in it.
That's right. Wasabi Peanut.
It was a bit of a stale peanut in game 1.
I don't know if wasabi peanuts would taste very good. Wasabi peas are good. Wasabi peanuts, though, I don't know.
Encroaching on my metaphor, Noah.
I'm not, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it very realistic.
That's fair, that's fair.
So, is it going to be the Kindred for KT? I mean, Sivir is banned.
This would make a lot of sense, and honestly, why change?
Yeah.
The mid lane Azir pick, so power picks. I mean, just the 3 championship from KT. A patch ago, you would never think of a draft where you get Poppy, Kalista, and Azir, but they have all 3.
Yeah. Well, Lowy is all over solo queue, but not really all over the pro scene in Korea. Yes, the Praven.
We may actually see
it happen.
I really want to see Kuro stick with the Velcos. Talking to pros before the season, they said if Azir ever came back, the counter pick is Velcos. This might just be a hover. We see a lot of them, but I've heard rumors this is the ultimate counter pick in mid, but no luck this time.
Yeah, the very popular Varus pick instead, and Prey is going to be taking the Jhin to the bot lane.
Gonna have to draft another frontliner, probably gonna be Maokai to give a wall for this double AD combo on the side of ROX Tigers. Triple AD with the Kindred. Definitely gonna need a super tank, so I think you could just pencil in Maokai right now and be correct.
Yeah, I suppose. Is it maybe going to be a support Poppy in a top round?
Oh, it is!
Okay, so Poppy going to be flexed down to support for Hachani. And looks like that Rammus is going to be the replacement top laner, so a little bit of adjustments made by KT.
And there it is. It's time for Cannondale.
All right. You and I were talking about this before the broadcast, too, that there just weren't a lot of carry top lane options for teams right now, but that Kennen has always been a choice that the ROX Tigers have been making, and they've done very, very well with it.
And Kennen has a 100% win rate in Champions this season. Only 4 games, 3 of which were Smeb, and 1 game for support. Sangyun played that last week. You can tell the matchup's going to be the ranged auto attacker wailing away on the Rammus, but this is what KT did against Longzhu when they saw Triple AD. They went for the ultimate counter against Triple AD, and it's not even Corki in a Triple AD, it's literally physical damage only, so the value of an armor stacking Rammus in the late game is going to be high.
Oh yeah, definitely. The question is, can Kuro and Prey do the most damage they can long distance, not really let Rammus be a part of anything? Smeb has I suppose, arguably pretty good peel, Smeb and Gorilla, for these long-range mid and AD carry.
I mean, KT have a really good team fighting combo. Just can they get through tough laning phases and get into a late game where they do have multiple options to stop them? But if they can get a lot of guaranteed early goal, take down the turrets with basically quadrating, Kennen has been played in the AD role as well. They need to see some snowball on the side of ROX Tigers, because if it's even late game, I really like KT's comp.
Yeah. We'll see if Kuro can land some pretty good chains of corruption and lead that into the Kennen ultimate. That's a lot of CC for Jin Air to work with, or not Jin Air, for ROX Tigers to work with. I was looking at Jin when I was saying that, and so Jin just became Jin Air. But it's KT versus ROX Tigers. Can ROX Tigers tie it up? Let's get the game and find out.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the
It's the danger of reading and casting at the same time, Papa Smithy.
Dangerous, dangerous game.
It is. Well, things are a little bit dangerous for ROX Tigers in this match, at least, even if they're not in danger of losing that first place spot in the standings. They are down a game to KT Rolster.
And we wondered about what ROX Tigers we'd see, given they'd ironed up first spot overall and thus that automatic berth into the grand final. We look at this ROX Tigers lineup here, specifically the champions. Kennen, Kindred, Varus, and Jin. Effectively Quadra AD, although Kennen will obviously building ability power, but has the ranged auto attack. Big issue I see with ROX is this is not the comp that ROX has been winning with all season. Think about the comps in your head that ROX have got a lot of success with, and it's everyone on an initiator. Siva, Lissandra, Maokai, all these times. Ashe, if they're not running the Siva. Engage has been the story for ROX Tigers, and this is literally a Quadra ranged auto attack disengage comp. You were talking about the engage with Chains of Corruption. It's going to be defensive peeling Chains of Corruption, defensive use of the Cannon ult, and just focusing on a structure game. ROX Tigers are playing the sort of lineup that I'd expect Samsung to be picking, who love to play that poke game. It's ROX Tigers really trying something different.
Well, in my mind, Papa Smithy, teams only go forward in fights. There is no going back.
I mean, I don't think Varus and Jin are going to be going forwards, though. I'm
Sure
sorry.
they are.
Well,
Why not?
I remain to be convinced.
My Varus does, but that's not necessarily a good thing.
Support Varus?
No, you can play him anywhere.
Nice.
You could play him support. He's got a slow.
Name a champion you
He's got
couldn't
a
play
CC.
support. Come on, Doa. Putting you to the test here.
Oh,
How about Sejuani support? Think of the level 6.
well, that was actually like a thing.
Think about the levels 1 through 5.
Well, that was less of a thing. But Kha'Zix was hard to play as support. I enjoyed it, but
What did you support
It was
yourself to? Kills?
yeah. I would just hide in the, I would take Q and then I would go and hide in the brush at level 1 and pop out and take off half of their support's health.
Balanced.
Yep, worked out great.
Sounds like a compelling argument. I'm ready to see it in Champions.
Yeah, force him back. Get that level 2, start poking with the W. I had a plan, and it was a good plan.
You always do,
But
Doa.
the pros never saw my genius. I don't know what happened.
Lane swap once again on, but this time it is Jin in a lane swap, which isn't as desirable given that he has that finite amount of auto attacks before the reload mechanic.
Right.
So we might see KT win the early turret trade, but probably not going to matter too much.
Could be. Both teams going at those turrets, and yeah, we will have another lane swap, just like last game. And so now that we're in kind of a similar situation with the lane swap, what went wrong last game for ROX Tigers at this point?
I mean, the big factor was that KT traded up in every scenario. There was never a situation where ROX were getting bonus objectives, but KT were getting them. And again, with that double lane swap, with there being turrets down everywhere and the ability to put those aggressive wards down or make aggressive plays, it was always score on the front foot with the Elise. And instead of looking for counter ganks or paying any lip service to the skill matchups in lanes, Peanut was farming. Peanut was getting, as we noted, a very fast 25 stacks at 20 minutes, despite having really no kill participation as the Kindred. And that's fine if you can opt into a late game where you're even or just slightly behind. But the late game never came. When we finally saw a Titanic team fight, I believe KT were maybe 4 or 5k gold ahead. Not much, but given the timer, enough. And with their ability to push down turrets, with the Azir mid in particular, who can destroy those objectives, one failed team fight, and ROX Tigers lost the game.
Yep. Smeb having to back away as Chani and Arrow come back into the lane, and we'll see what Chani can get done on the support Poppy.
At the end of the day, Kindred can flutter to deceive, even though you're a Devourer jungler and thus shouldn't be applying much map pressure. She's so strong at skirmishing early that if you get enough of an advantage, the enemy team is playing defensively because they've given up a couple of kills. You find the breathing room to pick up those Devourer stacks. But the previous game shows the converse, where the Kindred is anonymous, the lanes start winning for the opponent team, and thus the pick champion, the Elise, makes the big difference in that jungle matchup.
True. It seemed like things were going okay for ROX Tigers last game when they got the first dragon, but then just what KT could do with that Rift Herald that they got in return seemed to be just a little bit better.
I mean, the funny thing was, after that first Dragon, they lost, I believe, 3 Rift Heralds. The next Dragon, so many turrets, the mid turret crucially early. There was just no pressure supplied for the LeBlanc in mid, so LeBlanc was basically anonymous. Yeah, it just was a culmination of factors, but smart play around what ROX had drafted with that.
Right. So the next Tier 1 turrets are going to get taken out by each team, as we normally see. Should be about even.
Yeah, it is looking that way. Other fun thing about Rammus in these lane swaps is that he can roll around very fast, so doesn't need to use teleport. Can meet turrets and does good turret damage with the defensive ball curl, so does surprisingly well in the turret trading and gets through that really early laning phase where 1 through 5, what's a Rammus going to do when he's in lane against a Cannon? Not very much.
And the ROX Tigers just taking these turrets a little bit slower than KT, and that's going to allow KT to get a Rift Herald on top of this.
You wouldn't think that would be the case with 4 ranged auto attacks, but this is Jin, remember. He's slower at taking turrets, and that's why they're behind in pace.
Well, the crazy thing is that I feel like we're kind of seeing something really similar to what we saw last game, only this time the ROX Tigers don't even get that first dragon.
Right, because of that late timer. Remember, top turret went down, and the Rift Herald was taken before ROX Tigers could answer.
Yeah.
Now, Peanut has had a lot of extra time to farm and once again finds himself, 2 camps, maybe 2.5 camps ahead of his opponent. But again, if the game ends at 25 minutes, that doesn't really mean much at all.
Yep. Pretty true. So do the ROX Tigers try to set up for like a dragon or something now? How much of a priority do you put on that? Oh, hello. Score, putting some deep wards down. And Gorilla and Prey. The other side there, Gorilla, Score. Gorilla walks right into it. Gorilla going to take a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, Fly had already started walking over, but only just meeting each other in the wind. Big factor there.
Right. Fly's been looking pretty good on this Azir too.
Yeah, pushing up really aggressively. If they push up this far down bot, that means that they're not interested in letting ROX pick up the dragon you mentioned, so keep that 1 Rift Herald advantage alive.
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at the wards on the map too. Like, ROX Tigers are already being forced back pretty heavily on their side of the map.
We saw the line of pinks last game, and I guess maybe it's a game where finally it's relevant that the ROX Tigers do not ward much. We talk about battle wards in affectionate terms, but that's because they're just not putting down wards, and their jungler's been applying pressure in lieu of wards. If the jungler's not applying pressure and not putting down wards, you get game 1.
Yeah, and I think you might get game 2. So far, it's looking a little bit rough. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Peanut's not being a battle ward right now. He's not being a ward at all, and he's not warding really at all either.
It's just power farming, which seems like a big risk.
Yeah. Kuro, I mean, he farmed okay last game too, but that wasn't the issue. He was kind of just like on his own, right, as the rest of his lanes just got pushed in.
Worth knowing that this time he's away from the LeBlanc, that champion that wants to be proactive in the early game, to the Varus, who has very good line wave clear, so much safer, can clear waves off the screen, and is getting closer to level 9.
Yeah.
He really wants the blue buff, though, so if KT can deny blue buff, that really does take away a lot of the wave clear potential from the Varus.
Sure enough. KT looks like they're setting up to take the blue and take the dragon afterwards, or maybe just a dragon, or maybe just a pink ward, or maybe just get hit by some arrows.
I like this reactive play-by-play.
That's right. Oh, there we go. Chain of
Teleport
Corruption.
coming in.
They're going to go forward with that Varus. Prey pops his ultimate. There's a curtain call. Johnny taking damage, and Smab coming from the side. First blood goes to that cannon. Explosive cask used to help KT disengage, but that's what I wanted to see someday on his own. And he may be a tanky Rammus, but he's not that tanky. Whoa.
Whoa.
How did he get through there? Okay.
Today I learned.
He's very... What an agile Rammus he is.
Today I learned that you can flash over that spot. I thought for sure that'd be a misfire, but...
Well, it looked like he was like in the wall for a second there too. That was weird.
He has a very small model size, Rammus.
I guess that's true. Well, ROX Tigers win the team fight, get the first blood, get the dragons. So in the end, it works out pretty well for them.
A really nice teleport flank from Smab. It already pinged level 6. Cannon at level 6. Enough said. Very, very strong AoE clear. I really like what KT were doing, playing around denying the blue buff, but the moment that the first chain of corruptions hit, parlaying into Smeb in the back line, really, really nice initiation from ROX.
Just like I predicted, Papa Smithy. Engage with the chains of corruption, and Smeb comes from the side, layer the CC. win the fight.
Now I look silly, Doa.
There we go. Mission complete. Hey, man.
It was a really nice play from Kuro, Smeb. They had that ward prepped minutes before. The ward was actually about to time out on the Dragons. So really smooth play that we've come to expect from ROX, but was basically completely gone in game 1.
Yeah. Never underestimate the aggression of the ROX Tigers.
I mean, it goes without being said, but never underestimate the ROX Tigers.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Or SK Telecom. Sometimes they look bad in their region, and then they just go and don't lose a game at IM World Championships.
That's true. That happened.
It did.
What a tournament that was. First game will live in infamy. You enjoy that cast, Doa?
That was a wild one for sure. Yeah.
You know, Eva has been like on a massive losing streak ever since that tournament. They're actually looking really poor over in Challengers Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
TSM just broke them in that second best of 5, I guess.
It was one of those weird scenarios where winning might have done more harm than good.
I don't know. Score backing away. Yep.
On the upside, real chance the MVP might be back in Champions next season.
Yeah,
it looks really strong.
After a like almost 3-year hiatus, as the old MVP team, for those of you who may not remember, won Champions Spring 2013, taking out CJ Blaze, I believe it was, way back then. And then later on, MVP was sold to Samsung, essentially. They became Samsung.
Just before Season 3 Worlds.
That's right. And then MVP, who has teams in other games too, but have recently started rebuilding in LoL, and they're doing pretty well.
And I actually really commend the approach they took. You know, very famous org in all esports in Korea, but they didn't want to just buy a slot. They decided they want to start with a challenger team. They put together a lineup with some familiar faces. I believe Max from CJ Entus, their support.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, basically dominating a challenger scene that we thought would be 1-0. We thought it would be Ever crushing everyone, but Ever struggling recently. I believe they're in 3rd overall now, and MVP way out front.
Crazy. It's interesting stuff. Yeah, MVP, I mean, when you compare him to like SK Telecom or KT, has not been around anywhere near that long. They showed up in StarCraft 2 at first, but have certainly been big since then.
It's fun to have an org that was notable in League of Legends, then dropped away, and it's relevant even within this one game where they have that history. They are Champions winners.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it was a bit of a lull in the action as KT kind of takes stock of what to do here. After losing that team fight, KT's kind of pressure on the map has just dropped away almost completely.
And I was really liking what they were doing. They were pushing up in bot just so they had the ability to deny a dragon and deny blue buff from Kuro, thus the wave clear is gone in mid. Thus, once again, they were hoping to recreate the map pressure advantage they had in game 1, but one failed team fight, and now, as you mentioned, very much equal or honestly losing in terms of lane pressure are KT.
Yeah. We'll see what they can do.
It's very early days still.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Fly's not going to have any trouble pushing back this lane. Pushing back the minions, rather.
The early game farm wars we were denied last game are on full display.
That's right. So we were in America last week, Papa Smithy, and this was your first time in the US of A, wasn't it?
It was my first time in the land of the free.
How was it?
It pretty much lived up to every stereotype I had established of it, which is good and bad.
I gotta visit Australia sometime then.
The portion sizes, definitely I was not misled on that. Your idea of a small drink is very large.
Hey, it's not my idea. It's other people.
Your nation's idea.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
Some of the
weird.
food, though, we had Chick-fil-A for the first time. That was great.
Yeah, I'd actually never had that before either. It was okay. It's pretty good.
It was
Done
good
it for that Chick-fil-A sponsorship.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay, good luck.
Calcone one season, Chick-fil-A next season.
There you go.
They do not have a presence in Korea,
I
sadly.
don't think so, no. We'd have to have it shipped in, and I don't think the sandwiches would survive that.
A man can dream, though.
I guess. Dream big, that's what they say.
But honestly, it was one of those situations where so many of those famous names, I was like almost crossing names off a checklist when it came to famous restaurants, because my casting team out here is all American, so I hear a lot of great things about America.
Oh, yeah. Not so many great things about fast food, but it's more that like it exists, you know?
Sure.
It's an institution.
The fast food institution. Prey is in trouble.
Yeah, he's on his own. I don't know if you want to be there, Prey. Yeah, he doesn't know if Prey wants to be there either, so he's going to back up.
Well, you can see they have no vision past the river to ROX Tigers, so that's actually a lot of darkness for them to work around. So needs to be defensive, so smart from Prey to just hang back.
True enough.
Kuro really wants the blue that was denied last time. We'll pick it up, so going to be very much equalized lane pressure in mid, but you can tell the difference between the games, though, I think, in the pink ward line. We commended KT for having such an immense amount of control of vision around the river area. This game, if anything, it's ROX Tigers that are sticking pink wards a lot better than KT could put out.
Yeah, they still ended up being behind in gold at 15, which is still kind of weird for the ROX Tigers, but they're doing okay. It looks like they're going to lose this dragon, though.
Score has to back
okay,
away.
all right. Not wanting to fight that too much.
At least we're talking about hundreds of gold rather than thousands as it was in game 1.
I didn't realize for the longest time that the dragon actually has 4 legs and separate wings. I thought the front legs were just the wings also.
I can honestly say I never paid it any attention, so I'll
Yeah, but
also
like-
be surprised.
Oh, Kuro. Oh, nice flash. Avoids the Emperor's Divide, goes back in. Fly uses a cleanse to get out of the chains of corruption. Achani has to flash to get out of that one. Awkward engage, but ROX Tigers, I think, coming a little bit better off in that one.
Sunday hasn't used his teleport, so they'll have that advantage. Chani getting a lot of burst.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Curtain call. Achani hit
Oh!
block. Whoa, nice snipe by Prey. He got him.
Sunday just not respecting the hitbox there.
Whoa.
We talked about the big flash that he could make with his small model size, but conversely, didn't tank up where he very much should have. The body blocking should have come through.
Yeah, I guess so. And now ROX Tigers having all the advantages when they're pushing this mid lane turret. Score from the side, can he go in? Gorilla trying to engage their Smeb with the secondary engage, and ROX Tigers are making it work. They just blew up Fly. There's a kill as well. Explosive Cask throws Peanut back in, but he's going to use that Lamb's Respite to help everybody stay alive. ROX Tigers trying to disengage now, and there's not really any damage left on KT that can get close enough to harm the ROX Tigers.
And although I was talking about CC being used defensively, when you get picks like that, though, you can flash aggressively as the cannon. You can look for the picks with Gorilla. So really nice play, and they're just going to keep pushing. And with all this ranged auto attackers, turrets melt.
Yeah, that's very true. They got to be careful with the ult's down. Changes corruption used on score. That ult wasn't down, but Achani engaging. That Poppy's back. They got to be careful. Teleport bringing Fly to the fight. He may be on his own. No, that was Someday coming in actually. Score over the wall, trying to get to Peanut. Prey flashes to stay alive. Score extremely low, and there's a kill for Kuro. Getting him in the end anyway.
Score dies to the Deathfire touch burn.
Yeah.
Man, KT missed a lot of initiations there. For once, we actually saw the nerf coming through on the Fate's Call. Didn't have the range to reinitiate, so Poppy didn't get a knock-up at all. Ramus rolling and got nothing. ROX Tigers, again, getting this first pick. Just watch Someday. He needs to be able to tank it up, but the slow on the first one, and the fact that he had to walk around the turret meant he just couldn't get in range. So the first pick comes through, and KT realized, well, we got Alistair, we got Cannon, let's keep going.
I mean, Someday thought he was body blocking that, but Ramus is just a little bit too small.
And then Gorilla's like, it's go time.
Yeah, he gets a knock up on the Fly. That Azir was roasted. Some roast duck there. A roast eagle?
Roast Eagle. We'll go
We
with
don't
that.
have that in my gun.
No, that would be sacrilege.
It's pretty illegal.
Suddenly, it's ROX Tigers with their first advantage of the series. 5 kills up, only 2,500 gold, but if they can pick up the second turret with their 4 ranged auto attackers, we've already seen turrets melting, and it feels like we might actually see a recreation of Game 1 just in the opposite direction.
Well, yeah, it seems like the ROX Tigers are just, you know, a little bit tighter this game. It seems like they're not playing quite as passively. They're just taking things a little bit more seriously. And what do you know? When ROX Tigers do that, suddenly they can out-team fight you anytime they want.
Had Vision sticking so much better. They haven't given away free objectives. I speak as we do see a Dragon started, but it's going to be swapped for a Rift Herald.
I guess so. All right. It's interesting because it's only the first dragon for KT Rolster, but ROX Tigers could get, you know, a little bit more done with the Rift Herald. Who's they going to give it to? Okay, they give it to Peanut, so they're going to push the top lane a little bit, maybe.
We've learned from the last couple of weeks that if you have the pushing advantage, if you have, as we can see, 4 auto attack, ranged auto attacks, if you have Sivir who can delete waves, Rift Herald can actually be a relevant buff. It's usually been the Sivir, but I think in this game as well. If you try and split push against this group, you're going to lose multiple turrets if you're KT.
Yeah, and Arrow all the way up in bottom lane has to recall. ROX Tigers rotating up to the tier 2 in top lane. Score coming from the side.
KT are way out of position.
Yeah, but Score coming in from the side. Oh, never mind. Someday may be in trouble already. Score needs to save him. Someday taking some damage. There's another kill for Kuro. Prey went for it, but his mid laner stole it away.
Can't be second in rotation to the immense turret siege damage that ROX have.
Yeah.
Score looking for some sort of flank.
Smeb zoning him out, though, so ROX Tigers still in good shape.
Jin really punishes anybody trying to walk up and wave clear. Peanut's not done either.
No, I guess not. I mean, the poke coming out of ROX Tigers is just so devastating, and when you combine that burst with the CC that they've got, with Kuro's Chains of Corruption, which he's been hitting awesomely all game, ROX Tigers looking good.
We saw in the last game, Azir is a very safe wave clear champion against LeBlanc, but against the likes of Jin and Varus, who can shoot out those 2,000 range skill shots and poke, against all the AD damage and poke that ROX have, Azir hasn't been able to walk up. Fly's just been literally watching as turrets fall around him, and again, the pressure advantage has gone a complete 180 and now is completely in the control of the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, to a big lead now.
2 item builds finished across the board. Fly working towards the Rylai's second.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're seeing almost an opposite game from game number 1.
I called it a 180, and it doesn't
really
happen that much in top-level competitive League of Legends between first and third in Korea.
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
boy.
Oh, Prey, what are you doing, buddy?
He's dying.
You're getting killed. That's what's happening. Oh, Prey. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, that was silly.
Yep. Now, if only there were wards there.
Ah, yes, wards. The thing that ROX Tigers really doesn't like to place.
Yep. Yep, there were no wards there at all.
He was just like, ooh, nice wave.
Yep.
Dead.
It's like, minions.
Getting closer and closer to Someday piling on the armor. This is very much solo queue Rammus build. Thornmail Rush. Very effective, but needs to pile on some health items to really get the most value, because he is dying in the front line to 4-person focus fire damage.
Yep.
That'll change with the likes of a Sunfire Cape and a Randuin's, but it's at least 15 to 20 minutes away from Someday.
Well, like, eventually Someday's going to just get ridiculously tanky, but when that happens, if ROX Tigers kind of continue on the trajectory they're on, they should just still be able to blow up everybody else, right?
I mean, basically, I would compare it to Peanut finishing his Devourer, you know, sating his Devourer and the game being over. Theoretically, if you keep taking turrets, keep building up the global gold lead, that should be when 3 armor item Rammus is completed, when they're basically watching as their Nexus turrets go down, if ROX keeps the pressure up. But it's been pretty much mission success for the first 22 minutes. ROX have got a lot of turrets, a 5 turret to 2 lead already.
True. Well, bottom lane pushed up.
ROX should move as 5 wherever possible. You can understand the attraction of having Smeb split push, but with such a squishy core, literally no health between Kindred, Varus, and the Jin, you have to be really careful whenever you don't have the only effective frontliner alongside the Alistar, which is the cannon.
Yep. Smeb's got his teleport up right now, though, so I suppose he can still come down whenever he needs to.
2 items completed as well. Can zone, create so much space control with the Zonias.
Well, yeah. Zonias is for zoning, isn't it?
It's in the name.
Oh, Gorilla walking to brush. Achani and Score right there. But the entire ROX Tigers team is there, too. Teleport coming in, though. Yeah, Someday coming from behind. Smeb not TPing quite yet. It's a 4v5. Kuro in big trouble. KT looking good. Here comes Smeb finally getting into the fight. Lamb's Respite drop down. There's the Maelstrom. Smeb pushed back by the Emperor's Divide. And this could go badly for KT. The poke in the end. What a great snipe. He almost gets 2. He would have gotten to 3 if Peanut hadn't taken one of those kills away. Man, Prey is so good on that Jin.
I mean, he got that music video, a hype video about his Jin last week, really putting it to good use this week. ROX, even with Smeb being so late on his teleport, we once again get proof in the pudding. ROX has the control in the early game, just have enough health and items to survive what should have been a 1-team fight from KT and come out with a massive lead.
It was so close, too. I mean, the Lamb's Respite went down at just the right time. Let's watch that again. Chains of Corruption used only on Score.
I mean, Kuro's out of position, everyone's out of position, but the work the Lamb's Respite does, look at the low flashing health bars on all of those 3 damage dealers. Kennen comes in and zones some space, but they just have enough damage everyone melt. The snipe onto the Kalista was majestic from Jin. He actually would have got the double kill if not for Poppy dying too quickly.
Would have been triple, actually. But the crazy thing is that KT basically fought on the outside of the Lamb's Respite while the ROX Tigers were fighting inside of it. So when KT was taking all this damage, ROX Tigers were just not dying. They couldn't be killed, and then they got that heal at the end, and everyone was low enough that they were able to just pick everybody off one by one.
And that fight also demonstrates why the Kennen pick was so clutch, because think of another fight where it's a Maokai or a different champion than Kennen. Fly had to position so defensively and then use his ult to push the Kennen away. Whereas if you think of what Faker's been doing in team fights, get in there, use the ultimate to push everyone out of the Lamb's Respite, they all die, instant triple kill, the game is over, the fight is over. But because of the threat of the Kennen, Fly had to be so defensive, even with Cleanse, even with Flash Up, and the result was a resounding ROX Tigers team fight victory.
That is a crazy thing to think about, right? That we've got a team that's winning because of Kindred ult against a team that has Azir and Gragas. It's not supposed to work like that.
It's all about baiting the cooldowns, holding on to things, and the Kennen threat, the threat of the Kennen is honestly the difference between these won and lost team fights. I love fights that are fought on a knife's edge where both teams have answers to what the other team is fielding.
Yeah.
And so far it's been ROX just inching ahead, but only inching.
Yeah, but that inch is pretty close to becoming a mile now that they're about 8,000 gold up on their opponents, pushing into the mid lane now. No Baron buff or anything like that quite yet. They do have their second dragon. Prey just trying to force people away with that Jin ultimate. And wait for it. Oh, misses it. Oh, here comes Someday from the side. Gorilla misses his pulverize. They need to be careful here. Someday taking some damage. He's tanky, but he's not 1v5 tanky yet.
Only Gorilla is a frontliner, so he's happy to be the one taking all the focus fire. Has to blow his ult, though.
Yep. Someday coming back in again. Kuro does not have his chains of corruption right now. Not yet.
No one can walk up to wave clear. Threat of the poke coming through from Varus, the threat of the poke coming through from Jin. ROX Tigers basically monopolizing both sides of the jungle, and that just means the gold is only going to balloon against KT.
Yeah, pretty much. So what's it going to be? Smeb just going to split push again. He's almost got his teleport back again.
Well, the issue with having these 4 ranged auto attacker comps is that ROX can't really do Baron. No one's going to tank it, so
True.
they aren't really able to bait Baron very effectively. KT ever wins a fight, Someday can tank it forever.
Yeah. I mean, if ROX Tigers win a big fight and there's nobody left on the other side, I suppose they could take the damage that it would do them to do Baron and not really have anything to worry about.
When you think of good Baron teams, you think of Baron damage, and you sometimes forget about the tank, because remember, Kalista, Varus, Jin all do decent Baron damage, specifically the Varus, who has the percentage health shred on his W. But the big factor is that if you're trade tanking, everyone gets low. Even if you finish the Baron, an instant ace is very possible from the side of KT with the team fighting prowess of Azir and Kalista. So, again, can't really bait around Baron. That's the one hole that ROX Tigers really can't fill with their team comp.
Yep. And here comes ROX Tigers again.
So if you can't team fight and you're really good at poking, just keep setting up around the mid lane turret, and there's just really no answer that KT can do apart from looking for an engage. And we saw how the ROX Tigers did engaging 8,000 gold behind in game 1.
Yep. It can be done. That's true.
It didn't work for ROX, and I don't think it's going to work for KT. Score's really low somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, that's right. Might have just gotten poked out, I guess. And they're going to go for Baron, though. They've got wards spotting them. Let's see if they actually do it or if they just bait this one. Achani coming up right now, Score on his way back, too. Teleport up for Someday, so yeah, ROX Tigers just going to try to bait this for a little bit.
Someday's showing on the map, won't have access to home guard boots, but of course it's Rammus anyway, so we'll have plenty of movement speed. KT have had enough time for Gragas to respawn again. We see proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
A different team comp, ROX definitely tries to rush down the Baron with the smite chunked out, but just not an avenue available to them this game.
True enough. So Someday just back to split pushing in the bottom lane.
Getting tanky though. Maybe it's not going to be a factor, but it's getting there.
You know, it's hilarious that there still just aren't really any wards from the ROX Tigers. There's just a couple near mid, and that's it.
See, for you it's hilarious, but for an analyst like me, it's a bit chilling. It makes me think, maybe this is a team that could lose to anyone on the right day.
There's a lot of Jhin traps around.
It's fun how Jhin, like Kalista, has that extra utility that will make him relevant if the numbers are there. Traps really do choke up a lot of space if they're used effectively.
True enough.
And they scale with AD and do magic damage, so it's actually they're doing, you know, relevant damage as the game goes on.
Just ask Caitlyn.
Ah, yes, Caitlyn. We saw a couple of Caitlyn's. Oh, Sunday poked out.
Yeah.
Which again, remember, he's taking that poke from one ability against an AD with armor stacking.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, the wave clear is still good though for KT, so it's hard for the ROX Tigers to push in.
It's only really good because they're wave clearing at their inhibitor turret, where there's no threat of a teleport fight coming through. Finally, Azir can walk up. Finally, Kalista can walk up. But they're very much bunkered in their base, which is why ROX keep showing up around Baron.
True. And they're going to try to bait it again.
Big wave pushing in the bot side, so Kennen has to go and answer that. Close to level 16, which is a really big spike. In fact, Ping's level 16 now. Level 16 means that Kennen has enough bolts just from his ultimate to start up the whole team. You don't have to get a W and you don't have to hit anyone with your E. So now he has AoE lockdown, which could be very significant if they can set up some flank wards.
Could be good. Yeah, just in general, the team fighting has looked a lot cleaner this game for the ROX Tigers. Only one person dying so far. Just Prey when he got kind of caught out in a silly way earlier.
But Devour been completed for a while as well. The items are certainly there, but when you're such a squishy lineup, the right flank comes through.
Okay, teleport coming in from behind. There's Sunday, the engage on the ROX Tigers. Lambs just by dropped right away.
Wow.
Oh, Kennen, and a lot of Tigers players knocked right out. Varus gets taken down. Prey a little bit low, has to back away. Gorilla doesn't survive the fight either. That was crazy. But in the end, ROX Tigers disengaged unwillingly from that fight, and they will trade unfavorably with KT. KT rushing right over to the Baron.
Yeah, disengaged the wrong word. They were ejected out of the fight. That time Azir was able to hit. Oh, as we're seeing a lot of poking come through. They're trying the Baron, KT.
Fly taking a lot of damage. A little bit more will do it. And there's Smeb with the kill. They have to disengage from Baron. KT may have overstayed their welcome. Someday turning around, but Smeb right there. Peanut trying to do damage, but there's a kill coming in from Arrow. ROX Tigers have to get out of there. Score so low. Wow, kills on both sides. It's so close. In the end, each team basically fights each other to a standstill.
KT, with their team comp, with the ability to answer Lamb's respite, were able to win a team fight 8,000 gold behind. Super well done. First with, we're going to see the replay on this. Remember, we talked about the defensive use of the Azir ultimate previously. This time able to push a couple of members away, but the note button is so significant. Lamb's respite gets no value. Kennen ulting basically finds no one. Level 16 Kennen just going with the hula hoop ultimate. Really well done by Hachani in particular. First time we're seeing support Kennen in about a month. Getting a lot of value with the full channel of the ultimate.
Yeah, but getting knocked out right away, that doesn't do you a lot of favors.
And we saw the attempt at Brown. This was maybe, again, with the 8,000 gold disadvantage, biting off more they can chew. Good job by Smeb to poke them away. It ends up being very even, but given that the numbers disadvantage was there for ROX Tigers.
Well, this was just crazy, man. I mean, it was so close. Kills traded back and forth.
Going even with the numbers disadvantage suits ROX, and they don't give up the Baron significantly.
Well, they get the third dragon too, which is really nice for them.
So we see one team fight where ROX takes control of the game because Fly has to hold on to his ultimate defensively. This time can use it offensively, and again, in an 8,000 gold drop, KT find a team fight win.
Coming in, Someday locked up right away with those chains of corruption. Peanut trying to back away there. Someday in trouble. Fly comes in, Emperor's Divide pushes some people back. They get the kill on Kuro though. Here comes the curtain call, but I don't think he's going to kill anybody this time. Nope, not this time.
Another pick. Enough members roll from different directions. There's only so much Varus and Jhin can do. ROX really have to fight smart. They need to stay as a 5-man unit with Gorilla tanking damage in the front lines.
Yeah, they need to be a lot more careful here.
To respect the enemy team comp for sure. It's only 6,000 now. This gold lead keeps getting closer. We get closer and closer to an unkillable Rammus. In fact, it might be online already.
Yeah, very true. He may not do a lot of damage, but it's hard to kill. ROX Tigers coming in to try to stop this Baron. They've got Kalista though. Baron getting low. Can they possibly steal it? Prey's gonna try. They're gonna go for it. They don't get it, of course. It's so hard to take it away with that Kalista rend. Peanut not even getting in there to try to snipe.
That was a super cool
Smite,
Baron
rather.
take, because they had such a tanky front line, both Poppy and Rammus were able to just flank the whole time and just threaten coming in if ever there was a collapse from ROX Tigers. They were out of the fight, never came into it, so the 3-man Baron was successful. And KT pick up the Baron, only 5,000 gold behind. Rammus close to unkillable. Can ROX Tigers win a team fight? Because unless they get a pick, it's going to be difficult.
ROX Tigers were looking good, but it feels like they just got a little bit sloppy, and finally their team comp is starting to catch up with them. KT is getting a little bit better at fighting against this.
See, I don't know if ROX was sloppy so much as with their team comp, the most natural thing to do when you take all the outer turrets is to bait Baron. They literally have a comp that can't bait Baron. They didn't find a way to get a pick and thus break the base open. If you can't break the base and you can't take Baron, all you end up doing is sharing farm with the enemy team, just pushing farm into their arms. Rammus gets unkillable. The carries on KT pick up farm that earlier in the game they couldn't do because they were under threat of being tower dived ever. You can't dive into inhibitor turrets so early. And ROX's team comp, they just weren't able to push that last little variable that would have probably cemented the victory.
I think that little variable could have been vision too, because they sure were getting flanked pretty effectively in the last 10 minutes or so.
You know, vision would certainly help with some of the variables for ROX, but
Yeah, I think so.
old habits die hard though.
I suppose. And they're going to lose their mid lane turret. KT with a big comeback. They've cut this lead down to about 4,000 gold. They've slashed it in half.
Now, it is worth noting that if Someday gets too cute, tries to roll in 1v5, Void Staff's completed, the Lord Dominic's regards, but there's a lot of damage on ROX's side, but it feels like KT have to really misposition in a fight rather than ROX being able to make a pick just because the front line, Skragus and Rammus in particular, honestly Hachani as well on this Poppy, is so tanky that if we see a 5v5 fight, I don't see how ROX can significantly outplay the front line that KT can put forward.
That's going to be tough. I mean, even the fights we saw them winning were really, really close fights too.
And when we return to those fights, a lot of those fights were created because Rammus couldn't 1v3. Rammus couldn't be a frontline, didn't have enough tank items, so Azir had to be so defensive. When you have trust in your frontliners, as Vi will now have for Gragas, Poppy, and Rammus, you can focus on using the Emperor's Divide aggressively to push people out to completely negate the value of the Lamb's Respite. And if that ult achieves nothing, we return to that fight that ROX won. There were flashing health bars everywhere. Those flashing health bars are gone. It's going to be 3 kills. It's going to be a team fight win for KT.
Yep. KT, though, playing it safe, playing it methodically. How safe should you really go if you're KT, though?
Giving away a 4th dragon, I think, would be the bridge too far. They've got good vision around it. There's no flank wards still for ROX Tigers. They've never had a hope for the great flanks that Kennen is able to put out just because their vision has been shallow the whole game. In fact, they don't put out wards, though. They just put out the traps, I think. The Deadly Blooms, the closer they get towards. They are teleport
That's what
targets,
it's looking
though.
like. I mean, this is something we've talked about all season, where we knew the vision was going to eventually be a problem for this team, but they were so good at getting huge leads in the early game by just getting in and killing the other team that it didn't really matter. And now we're in a situation where they are really struggling to do that. They can't get into the other side of the map, kill off the enemy team, and get a big lead that way. So now, not having enough vision, not really knowing where the enemy team is starting to really hurt them.
And again, we come back to team comp. So often this season they got a huge lead. This game, we're just watching, they got a huge lead. But then they had initiation everywhere. They could get a pick, they could force a kill, and then take inhibitors. They don't have initiation in this game. Once they've got those safe turrets out the way, when the enemy team is fighting in their base, cannon initiation isn't going to be enough. They don't have the pick power of an Ashe. They don't have the engage of a Sivir, and that's why they kind of look ham-fisted, because they're not putting down wards, they don't have engage, and they can't bait Baron. So the ROX Tigers, honestly, don't know how to win at this point. They're just almost at the mercy of KT Rolster.
Pretty much. I wouldn't call it ham-fisted, though. I mean, more like beef-fisted.
That's fair.
Skrilla's.
Apologies to Alistar.
He's Alistar, yeah.
Again, he wears cowboy boots. How much apologies does he really deserve?
It's creepy, but it is what it is. Here comes the dragon. ROX Tigers really want to take this one. 5 dragons seems to be kind of their key to success. Teleport coming in, though. KT wants to stop this. Achani flanking from the top side, too. There's Someday. Dragon is taken by the ROX Tigers, and they need to get out of there. The disengage is good, and so KT just a little bit slow at reacting to that Dragon take from the ROX Tigers.
And KT was sloppy. They had the timer, and specifically, Fly was just farming towards where his inner turret would be in the mid lane. He wasn't in position, so if KT had overcommitted, their Azir wouldn't have been there to, say, deny the Lamb's respite or really make any damage impact. So ROX Tigers, against the run of play, take a Dragon they really had no business picking up.
Yeah, but that's really big for them too. I mean, because now they've got that 5th Dragon pressure. Now it's going to be harder for KT. Well, I mean, I guess the timers don't make it harder for the Baron to be taken, but going forward, KT needs to be really aware of that.
And it's more significant than you even said, because we'll come back to what ROX Tigers lack. They lack initiation. Well, guess what? If the enemy team has to fight you around an objective, you don't need initiation.
I suppose.
And ROX are really good kiting back. You know, Chains of Corruption, so much easier to use defensively. Even Kennen can use his ult defensively to zone space. If ROX can stay in the game at this particular situation, you know, marginally ahead in gold, they'll get the fight they were denied for the last 20 minutes around the 5th Dragon and maybe pull out a win that they just couldn't quite cement in the early game.
Yeah. It's been a pretty back and forth game number 2.
It's been an exciting one. It's been two teams that understand what they need to do. ROX looking a little bit clueless on how to finish. Again, they didn't really have the resources to do so. And now we get this really tense finish.
ROX Tigers, talk about tense. Oh, Fly locked up. He's got to get out of there. Miss and miss. One more. Doesn't quite hit it. Prey trying to get him with that Jhin ultimate. Someday coming from the side, pushed away by Gorilla. A flash used by Prey immediately as they take out the inhibitor turret.
Fly still hasn't got back in the fight, still in base.
This is so dangerous for the ROX Tigers. Someday just on his own there.
Azir coming back in.
Yep.
Could see the re-engage.
They're going to get the turret. Okay, Hachani coming in with his ultimate now. Someday on the middle. Wow. Smeb goes way to the back lines, gets the double kill. Kuro with the follow-up. ROX Tigers just evaporate KT Rolster. That was about as one-sided a team fight as I think I've ever seen. How did they kill Someday so fast?
Smeb, the thing is though, there wasn't a team fight. Literally Smeb insta-killed 2 people as level 18 Kennen.
That was incredible. This Kennen pick, there's a reason why Smeb is undefeated this season on this champion, and that is it. ROX Tigers take game 2. GG.
Kennen 4-0 for Smeb, 5-0 on the season. Literally flashed in, instant double killed, specifically Arrow and Fly. They were dead and the fight was over. No way to fight for KT. And after so much sidestepping for 20 minutes, ROX finally got the fight they want. After Fly was caught out, poked out, couldn't be involved, they watched an inhibitor go down and then lost the fight.
Well, when they saw Someday coming from the side with that Rammus, they're like, oh, so nobody's protecting your front lines.
Nope.
Okay then, and Smeb just went in. Wow.
Think back to why that didn't happen, because they couldn't dive the turret. Fly getting caught out, poked, had to go on base. They took the turret, and suddenly Kennen just throws all caution to the wind. Flash ult, everyone dies. Happy times for ROX Tigers.
Well, that was a pretty awesome game number 2, and this match is ending up being a little bit closer than I thought it would be. I mean, yeah, I know it's 1st versus 3rd, but KT hadn't been looking great, but today in the first 2 games, not bad. Not bad.
A competitive series. It was 2-1 last time. It's going to be 2-1 this time. Exciting to see this from KT, because after they lost to Afrika, after some of their sidesteps in the last weeks, you know, it was very tempting to write them off. But there's a reason they're 3rd, and on their day, they look like a polished, smart team.
Yeah, very true. Somber faces in the KT booth, but they're tied up. They still have a chance to win this one. And if they can keep Peanut marginalized, if they can keep ROX Tigers on their side of the map, I think they can still take it.
Exciting series, Doa.
That's right. Well, don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with game 3 right after this.